podcast. I will archive this on our YouTube channel, and certainly anybody who participates today, I will be more than happy to link your social media accounts or your Instagram, whatever you like, your website, as appreciation for joining. We do have Martyna. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I've added you up to the stage. You're more than welcome to unmute your mic and join the conversation. Our topic this week is kind of getting into how to, jump into green lifestyle, but I love being able to get everybody's perspective of, how did you get into being able to use skincare, using, kind of clean eating as a mindset. What kind of best practices do you have? Certainly welcome in, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Kim. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
I thought I'd just introduce myself. I'm actually currently in Dubai. I've lived in London for many years, 14 years. And a few days ago, I moved to Dubai, where I'm planning to set up my own business. I'm hoping to create my own skincare brand and sell skincare products. So I'm interested in all topics in relation to skincare, and I'm also aware that obviously food can affect the health of our skin. So I thought I join this room and see if I can learn something about that topic. So that's me. That's why I'm here.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome so much.
Welcome, Martyna.
Thank you. Yeah.
Martyna, I can help you with that skincare business, and also if you want to connect with me on Instagram. I just launched my business last year. I'm selling skincare, but at the moment it's just lip balms, and I am going to expand into sort of other like serums and body butters. But mine is more natural. I don't use anything like this synthetic. I'm also doing if you really want to learn a little bit about it, I can point you sort of like if you want to learn about how to formulate, and then there was a really nice school called Formula Botanica.
I'm a student from your.
Hello.
Yeah. Cool, isn't it? I think all skincare brands are now come from your time, don't they?
Yeah, so I love it. Okay, cool. Right.
Yeah. So you've got your own brand set up already, have you?
Yes, I do have it. You can see it on my Instagram, so you can follow it from there. I just want to say I was actually in another room a couple of days ago, and there was something about how what we eat also impacting our skin, and there was this lady mentioning about the hair, how she changed her food habits and eating more into vegetables and fruits. Her hair started to get more healthier. She didn't specifically say what exactly diet change she did, but she was saying that just changing, she said she wasn't eating processed foods at all. More the green vegetables, or maybe fruits, and kind of more healthier. What is the term now? The clean. By the way, I have this thing about clean beauty. Everybody has. It's a big trend. I'm not against it by all means. Use the word, but it's just we were discussing about. There was this clean. What exactly mean? Because everybody, when they think about clean, you can be cleaning the floors as well. You may just use the bleach and it's clean. So when it's a clean beauty, it's like, what are you using as an ingredient? Are you adding whatever in it? So it's kind of more, I'm kind of a bit more what I want to say green beauty. So I'm sort of, you're using natural ingredients. Anyway, off topic. So basically she said, just changing her diet, her hair got better. But she did say also she's using oils a lot, like natural oils. She suggested marula oil, for example, that it does wonders for her hair. And also, what did she say? Those ones, and then they did also mention a coconut oil. So coconut oil is very versatile. Obviously, you can eat the coconut oil, but it's also very good for your hair as well. So that's my 2 cents of adding.
I love that so much. I do want to reset the room for a moment. We have an expert in wellness and nutrition has stepped in. Hello, Karolina. Welcome in.
Hi, Karolina. Hi. Thanks for coming.
Hi.
Good deal. And we are recording. This will be archived on our Instagram and our YouTube channel. So we have this. We're just talking about the connection between certainly a green lifestyle. I love that you use that. We're trying to consciously shift our verbiage from clean to green. I agree 100%. So that's definitely always on topic. And really, you know, what that means. I know everybody has a different definition. And since our skin is the largest organ, as we all know, you could definitely see the kind of underlying health issues. I know, Maria, you had a client that you helped who was allergic to every ingredient, and it didn't matter how natural it was. Yes.
Very, very interesting case.
Yeah.
She tried everything, but everything only worked for about a day, and then she started getting reaction. But prior to that, she said she's only using Dove soap bar to wash her face and then nothing else. And she was fine with it, which was interesting because she said that she's reacting to fragrance and she has all the sensitivity to fragrance and whatnot. And it got to a point where she was trying so many different things. And I basically said, look, I think at this point you should not be trying any more products until you talk to your general practitioner, you talk to your doctor. So she finally made an appointment to her doctor, and sure enough, she was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder.
Absolutely.
But it was just interesting because everything that she put on her skin, her condition inside, it manifests in her skin. Everything just shows up on her skin. But it was almost like at the end of it, she said, well, it looks like my skin was telling me to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Which is so true. Yeah. But it definitely was an interesting case. I asked Amira, have you come across something like this where somebody can't use anything? And we went in even very, very simple, just one simple ingredient. Hyaluronic acid. Let's take a look at the ingredient. Let's take a look at all the additives. We went synthetic and nothing was working. That was kind of like the trigger when I just started thinking, okay, maybe this is something that is not external. It's more internal that is showing up whenever it's kind of reacting. Everything is reacting that when she puts everything on her skin. But it was definitely an interesting case.
It is. And I mean, that certainly is such an extreme case, but I'm a huge believer that if we really listen to our bodies, it's going to let us know. It's going to let us know whether the food we eat, is going to have that reaction. I know for myself, I'll start getting a little congested in my nose, if I eat, sugar, or sometimes for some reason, cheese that is raw, I don't get a reaction with, but cheese that's not, and I'll actually get a bit of flushing to my cheeks. But it's just, really paying attention to those little key signs from when we're using products or we're eating and how our body's going to react to them.
And Tuna, I'm glad that you brought up the fact that it's clean as a trend, because that's what we're trying to have a conversation about, that skincare and diet is really not a trend. It's really more of a lifestyle. It's a journey. It's that's what I believe. Personally, I believe that skincare is also a journey, just like finding the right combination of food is. If you don't want to call it a diet, but it's something that transcends trend. I say that many times, that skincare really truly transcends trend. That it's really not, oh, this is the biggest thing right now, let's everyone hop on board. It's more like finding what actually works for your individual person, because everybody's skin is so different. There's so many variables.
I love, Maria, what you and Tuna are saying about your internal health affecting how your skin looks and how you look. And there's not just like one thing that you can do. It's not just going to be a clean cream that you get at Sephora, right? It's going to have to be how much water you drink, how much sleep you're going to get. Like, are you taking your supplements? You know, it's really, hold on a second. It's really,
Yeah, that's all right.
It's really like from within and mind body as well, because it could be like you're doing a detox, but if you're not dealing with, you know, trapped emotions in the body, then you can't actually help, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, we see cases where food becomes an issue, especially with somebody who's more acne prone a lot of the times, or rosacea or eczema. You know, I have a friend who every time she eats sugar, it shows up on her skin again as a flare up of rosacea. It always manifests like that, and it all started when she started getting her premenopause into menopause, and everything in her body changes. And that's another topic too, where our skin doesn't stay the same from year to year. From decades, our skin changes constantly.
The skin and the hair and the nails, like you were mentioning, Tuna, is a reflection of your internal health. So that lady that you were referring to that was eating more just cleaner foods, less processed foods, like, and her hair and skin and nails started to look healthier, like that's a true representation that she's getting enough protein and getting all the nutrients. I noticed that when I was plant-based, I tried everything, just like you mentioned, Maria. It's like you have to find, it's a journey. You have to find what works for you. Being plant-based did not work for me. It's amazing for a lot of people, but I wasn't getting enough nutrients and protein, and my hair and nails were so thin. And then as soon as I started eating paleo again, which is why I'm like such a firm believer about paleo and Whole30, because immediately I noticed the difference in my skin. I started to get a glow that's like undeniable. My nails are so strong, and there's tons of growth, like new growth in my hair. It's awesome.
It's true. I definitely vouch for that. I think it's a two-way combination, Karolina. You can have the internal effect, which really, you know, everything. You eat the good food, and you know what is good for you, works for you, and then you can supplement that with what's coming from outside. Obviously, there used to be, I don't know if it's true, but there used to be, I don't know, it was maybe quite a long time ago. They were saying like what you can, where was this? Maybe I saw it in a show. There was this lady was saying, if you can't like eat it, don't put it on your skin. I don't know how that is true anymore, but our skin is more obviously built up for with a barrier. You know, you have your defenses against organisms, you know, these external factors, whatever. Obviously, you need to take care of. I think this is where the skincare comes in. You know, you still need to take care of your skin externally and internally, because it's what I've seen it myself. I have a little story about this. I mean, I suffer from dandruff, and I find, and sometimes like excess, you know, under my heel, I get this excess, you know, white skin kind of, you know, you have to rub these up, and I hate those things. And I find that it's related to bread. Whenever I started eating more bread, those kind of like dandruff, and then, you know, a little bit starts showing up. Not, you know, and then I see this excess skin showing up under my heel. And I stop it, and then literally in a couple of weeks' time, they all disappear. So you can actually a little bit do test on yourself. But I do see the effect myself with the what you eat. It has a direct impact. Now, how it affects and how you have to do a little bit of observation here. So what you mentioned, Karolina, about, you know, you noticed yourself that you're not getting enough nutrition, and then you're now seeing the side effect that your nails and hair is not becoming stronger. So you change your diet. So this is constant, like lifelong, you know, try and testing, you know. So that's it.
I love the point about the lifelong trying and testing. I think that it's so important to really stay flexible because, you know, my body that I have now is not the same body that I had, you know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even 5 years ago. It changed when I moved from the different coasts in the United States. It's changed from having a baby. And I think that my food has also changed in things that I can take in. When I was pregnant, I could have dairy and I craved dairy. Now, not so much. And I think it's so important to really be able to have that flexibility. So my question to the room is, I have a little one with me too, is how were you each able to really jump into kind of a shift in trying different types of food, trying different types of skincare? How did you jump into it?
So with trying new things, I can just tell in my digestion, and that's kind of what I let be my guide. Also my skin, so I love that we're having this conversation. And Tuna, like you said, you noticed a difference in your skin, and Maria, your client, noticed, obviously her reaction was in the skin. So if my skin's looking a little dull, or if I'm just feeling overall like bloated and just not well, like, you know, that feeling where you're just excited and jump out of bed. I love that feeling. And if I'm just feeling kind of like stuck in a rut and bloated, then I change it up. I reevaluate what's in my diet. Like, am I eating dairy? Which does not agree with me. But lately I realized, you know, tomato sauce is making nightshades, and I'm exploring not eating nightshades and peppers. I know there's a lot of people that can eat hot sauce and tomato sauce, but there's also people that cannot. So I'm exploring now cutting that out, just because I notice a difference in my body and my digestion when I don't eat those things. So I think the older that I'm getting too, I'm getting more sensitive, and then also postpartum, or maybe it's not even that I'm getting more sensitive. Maybe that I'm more in tune with my body, if that makes sense. Because once you cut out all of the noise and the junk, then you're really aware of like how you're feeling. You know, and I also did an elimination diet, so it's very obvious. Like, okay, it's clearly this. It can't be, you know, junk food. It can't be drinking. It's not any of these other factors. So I, as soon as I notice my skin being dull or just don't feel well, that's when I kind of change it up. How about you guys?
I agree on that. I think the first point of start is always what is the root cause? What is causing it? So before I started like the whole formulation, like when I used to buy the products, it's always based on a issue that you're trying to solve. It could be something basic as like, you know, even like you're getting a basic hairstyle. I remember like, oh, how can I get my hair like that? And then you start using, okay, I'll start with the gel, and then I start with the fusing fiber, then I use the wax, you know. Then I get like, oh, I have dry skin. Okay, and then I'll just look at it, what's in there, you know. So I think the process was like, there is something that's making you, or you get influenced externally. You see something externally, oh, I really want to try that. I think the latest one is the whole hyaluronic acid bandwagon. It's just exploded out of proportion, thinking that everybody needs extreme moisturization in their skin, because then again, you go to root cause is what you're suffering, you know. So you identify what is the problem going on with you. Then step by step, you look at it, what's going on. You look at the influencer, you read the articles. Sodium hyaluronic acid is the new thing. Your skin is gonna super moisturize, 1,000 more moisturization. Oh, there's well, buy more nice cheap. You know, it goes like in shades.
It's so true.
So yeah, that's what I think. But what do you think?
You know, I ended up studying holistic nutrition just because there's something about having that glow from within that you cannot get from skincare and a highlighter. And when I'm eating well, people are like, what highlighter do you have on? Or what skincare are you using? And, you know, I'm in beauty, obviously, with Amira and Maria, but it's not, and I tell them it's not my highlighter, or my highlighter is my skincare, right? So it's like, it's glowing. My skin is actually glowing. It's not just like a sparkly powder that I'm putting on my cheekbones. I'm drinking water. It's all the things that I'm doing. But glowing from within, it just looks different. You radiate all over your face, not just the high points of your face.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom used to always say, you care so much about your aesthetic, like the beauty products that you're using, what you're wearing. And she's like, you really have to eat fruits and vegetables to have it be like holistic, like the whole body.
Mm-hmm.
And to know what you're describing really makes me think of functional medicine and the root causes. Like if you're having congestion, like it's internal, it's not just isolated to like a beauty product, or like if you're having, like I was having a lot of forehead wrinkles and I wasn't hydrated enough, and I really had to look at, am I eating enough fats? Like, I need to up my omega, I need to drink more water, I need to get ample sleep, and all of these things in addition to really great skincare. I'm using the alginous mask now. I added some exfoliation, so it's internal and external that really makes you glow.
Oh, I agree so much. And I want to add another element to that as well. I know for myself, when I am eating well, when I'm sticking to my routine of going through my skincare steps, I just feel good. I feel happy. My endorphins are like in charge. And that, I believe, leads to that glow as well. So having, I think, that just happy mental state is going to shine through too. And that all just supports each other of going through and, eating well and using good skincare. That whole 360 support.
Although, Amira, I think you're probably one of the most positive person I know. One of the most positive persons I know. You just have an amazing, just energy that radiates. It possibly is your diet, but I think it's also your personality. Karolina, I'm glad that you brought up omega because, and I'm glad that you brought up looking into the source of the issue and not just looking at the symptoms, because I think a lot of the time when people are experiencing quote unquote symptoms, they're not looking for the root of the problem. So they constantly just kind of putting in band-aids on a problem that they could have gotten rid of the source of it, if that makes sense. But I think people just tend to be like, okay, if I have a headache, I'll just take Tylenol. But it's really what is causing the headache that's more important. I feel like, maybe it's a diet, maybe it's stress, but how do you alleviate those symptoms by changing some of your lifestyle, potentially, if you could. But for me, it was every time I'm stressed out, my skin looks dull.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have to compensate it with having a better diet to alleviate some of those stress causes, like omega, for example. Because every time I'm stressed out, my skin is more dry. I naturally have drier skin, but I can feel that if I don't supplement it with omega, eating salmon, eating food that is healthy and high in healthy fats, then my scalp is drier, my skin is drier, and my skin looks dull. So yeah, absolutely, there is a whole lot of connection there.
Yeah, and I don't want to hate on the plant-based diet because I do think being vegetarian works for a lot of people. I don't think it works for most people. Like, you're really not getting enough nutrients. You can do it, you just have to be very mindful of like all the supplementation to make sure that you're getting everything. But I noticed it the most when I was exploring with being plant-based, just because my baby didn't want to eat meat, and we started eating vegetarian. We started eating a lot of beans, and I was like, well, it's like she's not going to eat it. Maybe I should also take a break. Like, let me explore this with her and try different options. And that's when I noticed my skin was the driest, and the glow came back when, like you were saying, I was eating salmon and supplementing with better quality omegas. Also, the omegas, the fish oils really help with
absolutely
my sore muscles. Yep.
I second that.
Mm-hmm. I do. I also take the omega in the fish oil liquids. I mean, it's really healthy. That's a really good point.
Can we talk about what omegas you guys are taking. I'm taking Nordic Naturals, and I recently got, just because I give it to the dogs. Oh, by the way, I also give omega to my pug and my bully pit bull because they both have dry skin. So they get an omega pill every single morning to make sure that their skin is not dry, and they both like don't itch anymore. But I'm also exploring the wild Alaskan omega from Costco, the Kirkland brand, which I know is like not the best as far as like absorption, but it does look really good and it's wild. But which ones do you guys like?
Oh, I'll have to grab the picture and send it to you, Carol. It's from Dr. Mark Hyman's website. If you go on, and I mean, he doesn't make the supplements himself. He has, I don't know if it's an affiliate link, but on his website, he has a link to, several different companies. So I'll have to send it over to you. I've been looking for an algae-based omega and had kind of a difficult time doing so. But I'll send you the one that I have from him. I love it because there's no aftertaste to it. But I love the fact that you're giving your animals, they need it too.
They do. I like the Nordic Naturals also. Something that my late great grandma from my husband's side, she said she prefers to take liquid omegas if you can tolerate it, because if it's in a pill form, then a lot of times you don't know if it's fresh or not. That was her point. So she always makes sure that, okay, are you taking the liquid version? Are you taking the one that's in a bottle that's not in a capsule? Because her point is she wants to make sure that it's good quality and it's a fresh omega.
Okay, I just grabbed the bottle. It's Nordic Naturals. Oh, sorry.
So there's because I'm the UK, I use a UK-based brand. What they're called again? Nordic. It's called Nordic supplements. They say they have omega 4,000. So basically, it's I used to use a brand called Eskimo before, but then I didn't take for a while. Then I started taking again. I see the benefits of having the omega-3 is really good. And then it's funny enough, you can actually get omega as a skincare active as well. It's very expensive, but you can get it. You can use it. But yeah, it's very it's very beneficial oil, and it's because it has a lot of vitamin E in it as well, and then vitamin D's and all these. They're very, especially vitamin D. It's so, if you're not getting enough sunshine, they say you need to get the vitamin D as a supplement, because it does help with your growth, with the bones and everything. It's one of the key ingredients in vitamin D. So I would suggest definitely using omega-3.
And I love that you mentioned that. And apparently we're all taking the Nordic Naturals. I described our supplements. I actually did a training guide on omegas not that long ago. And I didn't realize that omega-9 isn't made in our body. So omega-3 and 6 is something we make at very small levels. And it's so important to supplement that, to use it both internally and externally. But omega-9 we don't create. So it's so important that we are getting it from our diet. We do have a new person that's come in the room. You're more than welcome to jump up and join the conversation if you like, or just absorb and listen. We are recording. I always like to make mention of that. And as we'll post this on our YouTube channel so that it is archived. I love the conversation we're having. It's such a wonderful room so much.
I actually want to make up the one here. Stress is one of the biggest problems.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, internal, external. Stress is, it affects your skin. Internally, also called, I think it's one of the most biggest issues that we have in our lives. It doesn't matter what kind of stress it is, work stress, family stress, relationship stress. I think in general, stress causes so much. It doesn't matter. You can't, and that's close to having a positive mindset, which also affects your general, having a good mental health, and taking care of yourself is one of the best things that you can do yourself in terms of, internal care or external care.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I couldn't agree more. And, to Maria and Miss Karolina's, compliment earlier for me and my positive mindset, that's something that I cultivate and I work on. It's not just, something that happens. And I feel like that's something, I appreciate the compliment, but it's not just by accident. I do a lot of meditation and I really try to surround myself with amazing, positive people constantly, like all of you. And that helps because ultimately, to your point, if you have that stress, if you have that worry, I think that's one of the most detrimental things to us. I think that's, and I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I feel like that's a lot of times when the illnesses can, kind of come to a head is when we've just run ourselves down so much, both, emotionally and mentally.
That's kind of what I was referring to with mind, body, and soul. I was when we were preparing for our wedding, like 4 or 5 years ago, I this way. I was eating healthy, I was working out all the time, and I just like didn't understand why I couldn't let go of the weight, specifically in my midsection, my abdomen, and it's because I had too much cortisol in my body, and when you have your adrenals are constantly taxed, which they are with everyday life. Like we're in the information age, there's just like content everywhere. People are just consuming everything. Food, drink, media, like we just have to take that moment or take time to like process and just like rejuvenate because we are human. So that's a good point that you bring up, Tuna, like to really not stress out too much, which is very easy to do.
Yeah, and then also that they also implement this fear of missing out. The famous FOMO word is going around.
Yes.
This generation that is all about I miss out everything. Everyone's like, okay, so much. Go, whatever this.
Yeah, and it's meditation. It's taking a second. It's being mindful. That's something that I've been working on is mindfulness. And working out, and it depends on what kind of workouts are good for your body too, because if you're constantly doing boot camp, that actually is elevating. It works for some body types, but not for everybody. Again, you have to be mindful with your body to see what works best for you. But if you are constantly elevating your cortisol level and your adrenals, then just everything doesn't look well. Like Maria, you said your skin doesn't look as vibrant and radiant when you're stressed. Like,
Yep.
It takes constant work. It's like a daily thing. So I started doing meditations in the morning, which really help. It helps me get ideas for what I want to do with Paleotale. It helps me just like know with certainty what the next steps of my life should be. And it's so simple. It's like 15, 20 minutes of just quietly breathing. It's crazy. And then doing some stretches and varying my workouts with like doing some boot camp, going on a walk, doing abs, like yoga, like a little bit of like the blend works really well for me. I'm also not a runner. My friend was like, you should start running. Amira, Jackie was like saying I should run a marathon, and I was like, that's just my body is not built for that. Like I know that I would stress out my body and my joints, and that just like wouldn't work well. So the HIIT workouts work really well for me, and managing my stress and trying not to have FOMO. Like Tuna, you mentioned, I try to be mindful with my social media because it's really easy just to consume content, but you have to be in the right state of mind to properly absorb it.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. I want to find a dance class. I don't want to run a marathon because I don't want that for my knees, but any dance class anybody's up for, like I will totally do that. And I think to your point, it's just finding your passion, your connection to be able to continue on just building that like 360 support of living that green lifestyle. Cool deal.
It's easier said than done, yeah.
Well, it all just starts with one day.
It is.
Yeah.
It goes back to the point that this is supposed to be a lifestyle. This is a journey. This is not a trend. And somebody, what works for somebody doesn't necessarily is not going to work for you, not necessarily, because everybody is different, every skin is different. But Karolina, I have to say, when you mentioned boot camp, somebody who's doing boot camp all the time, it works for a certain body type. It immediately brings me to somebody who does exfoliation like crazy. And it's my biggest pet peeve when helping somebody in a store or helping somebody with their skincare routine. It's just like the amount of exfoliation that people do. It's just mind-bogglingly crazy, I think. But you know, it's some skin can tolerate it, some skin can't. But it was just like it brought me directly to that. So
yeah, that is a perfect parallel. I love it. Good deal. Well, we are at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for everybody participating. We're so appreciative for you. I will link your social media or your website to the YouTube posting of this, and look forward to hearing your voices next week as well. We're so appreciative.
Thank you so much.
thank you for joining, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a
Great
good
conversation.
week. Bye.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.